Welcome back to the Reynolds Team podcast. I'm here. We actually did something a little different. We're on site at Hazel House, and I have two amazing interior decorators, stagers, business owners here in the community. Kirsten Kennedy and, oh my God, I gotta start over.
Tiffany Buckley. That's a blooper right there. I'll help. Tiffany Buckley.
Thank you.
I was like, I know her name, but my lips are not moving. Welcome back to the...
Oh, no, we're using that.
Huh?
We're using that one.
Are we? All right. So,
Let's do it.
And then we're also here with Kathleen Pogany.
Hello.
And so what we wanted to talk about is the value of staging homes and interior design. And I couldn't think of anybody better in town to talk to about that. So...
tell us a little bit about how you came about and about Hazel House, what you all do.
Great. So Kirsten and I met each other a long time ago. Apparently, I didn't realize how long until we were talking.
That's awesome.
A long time ago. And we were both sort of working separately in town, doing a couple different things. Kirsten was really focused on staging. I was doing some home flipping and sort of staging the houses that I did that with. We always would cross paths and talk about it. And Kirsten had a couple really big jobs crop up for herself. And she was like, hey, this is the time that we should partner up and start a staging business and really focused on staging. And so we did that and started staging. It was really how organically we started.
That's great. And that's morphed into more, right?
Definitely. Yes. We started staging, we partnered 7 years ago, and we decided we were in a big warehouse, as I was talking about before. And it was really more of our warehouse for our staging furniture. And we both kind of got frustrated. The aesthetic of the staging jobs that we were doing, we were constantly going elsewhere to buy the furniture. And we said, this is not a great business move. Let's open a retail store so we can, actually supply ourselves with the furniture. After we stage a house, people are constantly saying, we need to finish it out and fill in more. So that was kind of the evolution of the retail store. And along with that was the interior design division as well, because once the houses were staged, the buyers would come back and say, now, again, we'd like to finish it out and we need a designer to help us do that. So that's how our three divisions were then grown.
And I know we had one of my clients purchased a home that you had staged, and it was lovely because they sent a whole list of the furniture items and the purchase prices, which is a great option because I know when we stage with some of the sellers' own furniture, they want to buy that sometimes. So it's really nice that they have these choices. I was impressed by that.
Yeah.
So
it was nice having where it's being staged and the buyer doesn't have to buy it, but they can, and they'll have all the pricing and
Absolutely.
and
Right.
like that.
It's one of the objectives that
Yeah, we really, our goals with staging, we stage with new furniture that we buy for each specific property because every house is different. Every house has a different personality. Right now we're staging several homes and they're all very different. And you really have to stage for the design of the house. You can't stick something super modern in a small Victorian cottage, which we don't really have here, but it would be hard to do, right? So you need to look at what you're staging and really appropriately furnish it. So anything you see at our retail location, we use the same lines of furniture in our staged homes, all new furniture. A lot of people moving to Vero, it might be their house they're gonna live in year round, but it might be their second or third home, and they want to use it seasonally. So when they can move in and buy all the furniture and not have to deal with the hassle of furnishing a whole house where they don't live there year round, it can really be helpful for buyers.
that's definitely a huge perk. And I'm assuming you've been in the business, 20 years?
Well, we've been in different aspects, yes.
So how much do you think it really, if a seller decides to sell, how much do you really feel that the staging helps in marketability of the home?
I mean,
huge.
It's huge. It's beneficial for the homeowner, but for the realtor as well.
Yes.
Because most of our calls originate from realtors. The realtors call us because they've told the homeowner, we really need to stage your home. And it doesn't, another thing in regards to staging, it doesn't have to be the whole house. Most of the time it's the main living areas, dining areas, and a master bedroom, outdoor. Sometimes we do the whole house and all the guest rooms and everything, but if to save on cost, we can just the main areas. But it really helps with marketability because most people see things online before they go to see a house now. They see it staged beautifully and that's their first impression of that home and they want to go see that house.
Yeah, I mean the marketability, the attraction, everything of a staged home, a home that's just all done, everything's perfect versus one where it's empty and vacant and leaves a lot to the imagination. The difference in just attraction and answers a lot of questions that they already can my furniture fit in here?
Right.
Yeah, and it's
spatial
weird,
awareness of things.
Where does the TV go?
Where do I watch TV?
That's a huge, I get that question from the men mainly. Where does the TV go?
Yeah.
So.
And furniture can actually make a room, like you think as a layman that furniture would make a room feel small, but it actually makes a room feel bigger because you can see what could go in there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that a lot of there was a trend and you saw a lot of the virtual staging.
Yeah.
But people would then walk into the house and it's not the same. Again, to the scalability of things. The furniture that Tiffany and I and Hazel House use, it's also a clean palette. It's not, offensive to bright red sofas or heavy textures or things like that. So I think it's just an easy palette for people to imagine themselves living in and really see themselves. If they like green and they can throw green pillows onto the white palette and things like that. So
and I think, like you said, the feeling people get when they walk in and nothing's there that they saw online. I hear buyers say that all the time. This house just feels good to me. Even though we'll walk in a house that maybe checks off all their check boxes, sometimes it's a no if it doesn't feel good or so.
Yeah.
How do you handle, if we brought in like 7 out of 10 sellers at least and said, and they're like, right away they want to get in, rightfully so, what does it cost? But I try to have a discussion with them about the cost versus value. And it's always like, I have a little harder time delivering it, but how do you handle when someone's thinking that this is purely just an expense as opposed to something that would actually maybe not even be an expense and if not make them money?
I personally, I think we do have a lot. I mean, it is a big expense. Staging is an investment.
Yes,
it's an expense. It's an investment. With Compass Concierge, they can help offset those costs or delay them for the future. But it is,
Nice plug.
And so it is always, I'm like, Encompass. But that is always going to be a little bit of a hurdle for buyers. For sellers, there's some sellers who have staged before, who know exactly what it's all about, who've researched it. We go in and they have a list of questions, but they know that they're probably going to move forward. And then you have the other ones who are like, why should I spend this money? And, we feel, and usually if we're being brought into a project, the realtor feels that staging is really needed for this particular home. It's always on the table already. A lot of those clients will not stage, but then 3-6 months later when their house hasn't sold, will come back to us and want staging right then and there. And we have to see if we can work it in. And we try to accommodate everybody for 100%. But it is interesting. A lot of those people will come back later.
And when you're looking at the expense side of that, if someone delayed 3 months of not doing maybe what they should have done in the beginning, there's an expense associated with that.
Absolutely. And the initial sales price, that's where you guys as the experts, if a house is staged, it's maybe had a new coat of paint on some of the interior walls. There obviously are upfront expenses in that, but it can potentially yield a little bit more on the market too, because it is in tip-top shape as opposed to a house next door that has older furniture in it, has maybe yellowish walls. It's vastly different, I think, on the upside of listing prices.
And you guys also do, because we were talking a couple weeks ago, that not only do you stage and do design, but you also have people that can help with painting and other interior modifications to tie in with it all, right?
Right. So right now we're currently staging a really large house that needed some updates. So when we went in and initially met the homeowner, she came to us. She was very like, I'm going to stage my house. Like, so we went in there, we're arranging to have changed light fixtures that we picked out for her, new countertops for a kitchen, new backsplash, new door hardware, new hardware for the kitchen cabinets. She's painting a lot of things in the house. The whole first floor we repainted, and we made all the selections for her, helped her with any subcontractors that she needed. She had some people she used, but we came in with the countertop people and the backsplash and a lot of other things and organized all that for her.
That's great.
Before we even started staging.
Yeah.
And honestly, in talking earlier about Compass Concierge, that is something that, that program that Compass offers, where, if an owner wants to pay for it cash out of pocket on their own, that option's available. But they also, based on the equity of their home, can get all of those things funded and just paid at closing whenever the house closes.
Right.
So it's nice having all of that in one place.
Do you find any common challenges that homeowners have that you see often?
From a staging perspective,
right.
Tiffany, I would maybe, I don't know, you take that one.
Well, I think what you were talking about earlier with bringing their old, some of their furniture, they have dark furniture in the house that they brought when they moved from a northern location. And so they like the furniture, they've had it their whole lives, and then they want to go to sell their house. But it just looks like people moving into the market want a fresh coastal look. So some dated furniture can be a challenge. Paint is a very, very simple fix.
Yeah.
Recently, there was a house we staged, and I looked at it online before I went to meet the woman, and I was like, knew the red walls in the dining room were going to have to go. Like, that is just not what sellers want to see right now. So those are some big hurdles. Bedroom-wise, a lot of times we're asked to put a king bed in because bedrooms will look small, and buyers want to see, will a king bed fit in this room?
Right.
That's a huge, for bedroom purposes, that's what we get a lot. Where's the TV going to go? Where are you going to watch TV? Those are the most common kind of questions we get.
Okay, nice. And then what is maybe a success story in the past? Like, I know you've had tons of them, but like a success story in the past, like 12 months or 15 months that's someone came to you guys and you just made a huge difference and they love the results.
I think that one of the houses, as I was talking about earlier, it's kind of, I call it the trifecta for us, but with our business model, they come to us to stage the house. So then Tiffany and her crew can then stage the house. Then the number two is the buyers buy all the staged furniture. Number three, then they come back to Hazel House to complete the full interior design work. So our interior design, we have 4 interior designers on staff here that will then complete the house. And then that's really, everything's purchased through Hazel House Retail. So that's really the trifecta for us.
Nice.
That's the success story. That has happened several times and within the last 12 months for sure. So and it makes it easy for the buyer as well as the seller, because the seller got their asking price, the buyer got everything kind of turnkey, and somebody who knew their house intimately because it was staged and could go back and layer with the same aesthetics.
And the movers didn't even have to be called.
And the movers, we didn't have to do the movers. That's great.
And staged by professionals that know what makes things look good and fits the space. So other than just someone trying to do it on their own.
Right. And I really do think that's what, as Tiffany said earlier, that's where we stand out. First of all, we have a 5,000 square foot warehouse with a loading dock that we maintain and keep very well stocked for staging. We also have a mover. We have crew of moving. We have a van.
A lot of pieces
we have
of parts.
relationships with a great moving company in town that does all of our installations. So I think that we are really all turnkey, and staging is not easy. There are
No.
so many moving parts to it, and it's very time consuming, but we don't, buy things. We buy things only new. We're not going to a thrift store and repurposing things. It's all new furniture, and I think that's what really makes us stand out.
Well, that's a good point, because sometimes some companies, they may use staging furniture where it's not really meant to be used. It's just to kind of show a visual, and having to be your furniture that's sitting in your showroom and that people would buy, put in their house is really nice.
Absolutely, you can sit on the sofa.
Exactly.
And I can imagine it might be a little challenging too. I know we've run into some staging issues where homeowners like not to insult them, and they don't like the look of their house after it's staged, and we have to remind them, well, you're moving,
Right. There's a fine balance with homeowners and going in and giving your expert opinion and not being offensive.
Right.
And, I just always sort of lead with the homeowners. I'm a very upfront person. You're calling us because you want our advice. This is not meant to be offensive. This is what people who are buying homes are looking for. It's not exactly for how you want to live in your home, but we're putting it on the market for the general population. So, making recommendations sometimes can feel a little bit awkward, but we've never had anyone be angry or upset with any of our recommendations.
Oh, that's good.
We try to deliver it in a nice way.
I had a seller in the Maureen, and she was selling, and she'd owned the property for a long time, and she was moving up north to be near grandchildren. And we did some staging for her and modifying the condo. And I'm like, what do you think? And she's like, she shot straight too. And she's like, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But the buyer bought it right away, and that's all that mattered.
Right.
And so she was just
happy in the end.
She was just recognizing that it, she had, that was a perfect case of it was older furniture, darker woods, and she liked it. But that's not what the buyer was buying.
Right. And that's what you have to emphasize.
Yeah.
So what are some current trends that you are seeing nowadays? Right.
Oh, that's a great one. So it's really interesting. I would say in the last 2 months, and I'm speaking more from the design and the retail side.
Right.
I don't know. We have to see what you think about this, but I've had probably 5 customers, design clients and retail customers, say, I have this beautiful dining room, and I'm taking my dining room table out. We never use it. What can we do in there? Literally, this is one of the trends that I'm seeing, where dining rooms, if they're not in the open floor plan, if they're more segmented, I've put in 2 sets of 4 chairs and made it more like a loungy space for customers. I think that's really interesting. Have you seen that? Have you?
I'm trying to think of it right now. I have a formal dining room, but we're keeping it a formal dining room because the house is 20,000 square feet or something. They have plenty of other living rooms. But I could see that completely being a trend because people don't have formal dining rooms anymore. And a lot of people are moving from open floor plans and great rooms that had, that dining rooms in there already, or a kitchen area. So I could totally see, what do you do with your old dining room?
Yeah.
It used to be, what do you do with your old living room? Because there was a separate living room that
they called it the
grandparents
talking
had
room.
the plastic on or whatever. And so, it used to be, what do you do with your old living room? And I guess the dining room is the new space to tackle.
I could see that room coming about because for the past 5 years at least, if not more, everyone's been super connected to phones and tablets and social and stuff, and maybe some of those rooms are to be a little disconnected.
Yeah, possibly. It's interesting. And a lot of time, 2 of the cases in particular, they also painted the rooms a little bit moodier. We did some wallpaper in a few of the rooms to really turn it into almost like kind of a loungy room as opposed to a dining room.
So a nice room to have fun and just chill. And I see that. I hear a lot of times people don't have formal dining. They don't have furniture for that room, and they don't want it as a formal dining room. Yeah. They eat at their counter, I hear a lot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Especially with the giant counters that we are seeing, in homes nowadays, the huge islands.
So I know the viewer may also, ask, if you were to I know I hate this word in real estate, I hate this word in general, but if you were to generalize pricing on,
I was like,
but I know
no,
someone's gonna be
it's gonna come
listening
up.
and they're like, why does this stuff cost? You know,
How much is it?
or invest, you know, how do you answer that on, I'm gonna set you up a little bit. If it's like a 2,500 square foot, not a 20,000 square foot
Right.
home, a 2,500 to 3,000 square foot home on the beach side, you know, the value is anywhere depending on where exactly it is, $1.5 million to 2.5 million, and you're staging the vacant home, and it's like the main rooms.
I mean, the real answer is every house is different. And we like to go see our projects. We go see them in person.
Great.
We can look at it online, but much like the buyer. You can look at something online, but going to see it in person,
Totally different,
gives you a whole different idea of what this space is about. Generally speaking, our staging will range anywhere from $15,000 to $100,000.
Right.
It just really depends on the
Right.
extent of what we're doing. And that's really what it is. You know, I mean, when the two major projects we have right now are really massive houses. So
Right.
the staging fees are really high.
Right.
If we're coming
It's a
in
lot
and
of
doing
furniture.
a smaller house in Castaway, and it's just the main living areas, that's going to be a lot less.
Right.
And those fees cover the first 3 months of staging,
Right.
and it covers the installation costs. Like there's no additional costs. There's no additional fees unless
Right.
we're managing painting and those kind of things.
Right.
But for furnishing, everything's all included. That covers the first 3 months of staging. And then after that third month, it goes month to month. So people can cancel at any time. I mean, the goal is the house is going to sell.
It'll
the
sell
price
by
they
then
want.
with the
And
beautiful
90
staging.
days, our market time, generally speaking, is between 65 to 90 days now. Now, staged and priced appropriately, you know, we're probably well within the 30 days.
Right.
But you know, those other two legs on the pedestal are important.
Yeah, we don't want anything big on the market. We want everything to sell within those first 3 months. That's our goal. It's great for our business when
Yeah.
everything sells quickly.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we are so excited that you had us and took the time during high season here too. I know you're really busy,
Yeah.
and we love your new space here on A1A and
We do too.
17th Street. It's beautiful. So if you haven't stopped by, you have to come and check it out. The address,
1716 Highway A1A.
well, that's easy.
Yeah.
Right near the location's awesome. 17th Street Bridge and A1A.
Yeah.
So
So thank you for your time.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah,
we
thanks
we
for
really
having us.
enjoyed it.
thank you so much.
Yeah, nice
We
to
appreciate
meet you.
it.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.